Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katrina and I'm a mama to 3 little ones with 1 more baby on the way. Today I thought I'd share with you guys something that I've been actually going through recently, and I wanted to talk all about what it's like to wean a toddler from breastfeeding. I've been breastfeeding for what feels like almost a decade now. My oldest is 7, and so I nursed her for the first 2 years of her life. And then I switched and started breastfeeding my next daughter, who's 4, for the first 2 years of her life. And now currently I've just finished my journey with my third daughter, who's 2, and I breastfed her for 2 years as well. And so I feel like it's kind of crazy to think about how much I've been nursing and how long I've spent just sitting and breastfeeding my kids. And so I thought it'd be interesting to share sort of my technique and strategies as to how I wean my children and sort of what that approach has been like. I nursed my oldest for 2 years exclusively. Through this process, I definitely started to just nurse her on demand, and it was a really great relationship that we had together. It just worked really well. Nursing goes so beyond just nursing for nourishment. Eventually, once they pass that 6-month mark and they start eating solid foods, I found that our nursing journey turned more into like a comfort measure. And often I would nurse her through the night because she would wake up upset, or she'd be waking up thirsty, or just needing that general comfort and closeness with me. But when it came to finally time to wean her, that was where I found it to be a bit more of a challenge. I definitely was not prepared. I didn't really have anything to supplement. She would take a bottle, but not very easily, and she never looked at the bottle as sort of a replacement for the breast. And so that became a little bit of a hurdle for me because I couldn't just sort of easily slide in the bottle and hope that that would soothe her. I also never introduced soothers, and I haven't done that with any of my kids. And the reason for that is because with Hadley, my oldest, I definitely was more concerned about making sure that she was fed. I found that if I had supplemented or put a soother in her mouth, then I wasn't sure if she was getting enough milk from me, and I was also trying to just maintain and keep up my supply. The other thing is my kids just never really seemed to take to soothers. Like, I would try to introduce it to them early on, and they would just sort of reject it, spit it out, push it away. And I think they were just sort of aware, like, this isn't really the same thing as booby, so why are you doing this, mom? I think it's important for children to experience the environment around them. I think it's good for them to put things in their mouth. I'm the kind of parent that I let my kids crawl around outside in the dirt, and if they put a little bit of grass in their mouth, great, so be it. It's good for their immune system. So I think there's definitely other things at play when it comes to sort of the introduction of a soother and using it. And for myself and my choices and my kids, I didn't end up using them. So I didn't use a bottle and I didn't use a soother. So what did I do? I had this conversation with Hadley where I essentially said, no more boobies. We just decided on a weekend to try it, and she was really accepting of it. Like, it was such a gift. I had no idea how grateful I was for her response. It was just a gift. Because she was so accepting of it, it made the weaning process a lot easier. And so the other thing that we did is my husband actually stepped in, and he became sort of the night watch. So he was the one that would take our daughter to bed and lay down with her and kind of try to comfort her. And the technique that we use is pretty much like one of us will lay down with the kid at nighttime in the beginning, just to kind of get them comfortable and into a routine where they can learn to sort of fall asleep on their own terms and not be depending on sort of that oral fixation of nursing on demand or nursing on the boob. So it was definitely a learning curve for us, but we were fortunate. It didn't take Hadley too long. Yes, probably between the ages of 2 and 3, she had quite a few wake ups in between. Same pattern for my other 2 girls. They just tend to wake up at night, and for various reasons. Quite often I think it has to do with a lot of them having these sort of vivid dreams and sort of being aware and processing new information. And so you're still gonna have your night wakings, but at least at the end of the day, I'm not feeling that I have to always sort of nurse them to sleep. Quite often, just laying down with them is enough of a measure to sort of calm them down. The other thing that I also made sure we had was always water. So having a little water bottle by their bedside was always available. And then the other thing too that I use with my girls is having some sort of comfort. So maybe it's a little blanket, maybe it's sort of like a stuffy or a lovey, and that is another sort of method to help soothe your child at night, and just something that they can hold on to and feel sort of comforted by. My youngest right now, her favorite thing is this little stuffed kitty cat that she always sort of is holding and using. I'll put a picture up. It's so cute. I have so many pictures of her holding this little kitty cat, but she definitely uses that as a comfort measure and sleeps with it every night. And so we cannot go to bed without this thing. So it can be a little bit stressful. But anyways, that's sort of another method to kind of curb their, feelings of discomfort or, anxiety going into the weaning process. So weaning my second daughter was definitely a different experience. Now, of course, I can expect that because she's a different person, but she definitely handled it emotionally different. So we used the same strategy as we did with my first. I tried to explain to her, there's no more milk, and it just didn't really resonate with her the same way. Now, at this point, I think she was nursing a little bit more than my oldest was at the same age, but once again, I had gotten subsequently pregnant again. So, there was more of this urgency to stop just because it was just incredibly uncomfortable for me. And also just, she was expressing a lot of signs and symptoms of being done. Alongside Peyton, I cried many tears. It's a very emotional journey to wean your child and to break that bond. And to this day, I could definitely feel the emotions of that, and just knowing that I wasn't going to do it anymore is really, really hard. It's hard emotionally, it's hard hormonally, and it's just sort of like the end of an era. You have this really special, close bond with your child. It's just a total time of peace and solitude when you're connecting with them, and just having them really close to your body. And it's like almost like a form of intimacy and love in a way that's just so special between a mother and a child. And when that ends, it's hard. But I was also very happy for my kids to sort of have more independence and, graduate into this new chapter in life where they were learning how to go to bed and, sleep through the night better. And so all of those things are things that definitely come with the territory, and something that you can look forward to when you wean your child. So Peyton did eventually get used to the idea of laying down with her dad and going to bed on her own. And pretty soon it just became a routine where she would follow her big sister up to her room, and they would just go and lay down and go to sleep. We started to have 2 kids that were sleeping through the night on their own independently, and it was just like a great feeling. There's no other victory than when your kids actually start to sleep through the night, and you just think, wow. And then for a while, you're the one that's up in the middle of the night thinking about all these things because you're so programmed for it. But it was truly a gift when Peyton was sort of on her own, in her own independent sort of rhythm. Now with my youngest, this is what I'm going through right now. Currently, we're in another home, and she has her own bedroom, which she shares with our middle daughter, Peyton. And so same routine, they both have their own bunk beds, and we've decided to wean Paisley. She's been doing it for now probably the past week and a half. And it's been going quite well. She sort of took to it the same way that her oldest sister did. She seemed to be okay with it the first night, where it was like, okay, there's no more milk. I even explained to her that with this new little baby on the way, that was going to be for baby's milk. And so, she's a big girl now. She's turned 2, and it's time to move on. We're going to be doing different things. So once again, no soother, no bottle. She has her comfort from her kitty cat. And this time around, because I'm a sucker, I've been the one that's been laying down with her. I just feel badly because, it's hard on my husband. He has to get up. He runs his own business, so he has to work. And so I've taken on getting up in the middle of the night and comforting her in other ways, which is going and laying down with her. Now, the first weekend that we did this, it was rough. She was pretty upset. I didn't really mention naps, but naps are another challenge as well, because I nursed all my girls to sleep during their nap time. And so once I stopped offering the breast, it was like, okay, well, how do I get them down for a sleep? So I just do the same thing. I lay down on the bed, quiet time, dim the light, and just try and teach them that, if you're tired, you need to lay down. Now with Paisley, I like to call her spicy because she's so resilient and wants to do things on her own and on her own terms. and she's a little bit rebellious. So every time I feel like it's time for nap time, she tends to run away from me and she kind of goes and crashes somewhere else. So that's been not easy. You know, quite often I'll find her laying flat out in the middle of her bedroom or in the middle of the playroom somewhere. And it's just because she's finally succumbed to her tiredness or fatigue. That's kind of been what we've been dealing with the last week, and it's been interesting. And with nighttime, it's a little bit easier, but once again, she's kind of rebellious. And so, you know, if I'm on the couch in the evening watching a show, she often just kind of lays down beside me and falls asleep out there. Is that creating good habits? Probably not the best habits. Sometimes I can get her into her room and we can lay down together. And I know that because she has been waking up, unfortunately, several times at night right now, I just go right into her room. Immediately it's calm her down, quiet time. I just lay down with her and she falls right back to sleep. And what I noticed last night actually is as soon as I came into the room and I laid down with her, she was out. Like she just immediately went back to sleep. So it's getting better and it takes time. It's one of those journeys like through motherhood with all things and all sort of stages for your kids. You just have to work at it. You know, potty training, you got to work at it. Sleep training is another form of it. You just have to really be committed, create special routines for yourself and for your children, you know, creating barriers that are comforting for them and that are within sort of their scope of understanding, and you'll definitely have success. And I know that we'll get to a point where Paisley will start to sleep through the night and it'll be awesome. And then I'm going to be up again with another little newborn. So you feel so proud when your kids start to accomplish these milestones. It's a great feeling when you know that they're, you know, at a place in life where they can be independent and be confident in whatever they're learning. So for us, it's sleep, and it's just been our approach. And so far it's worked for us. It's worked for our kids and worked for our family. So I thought I would share it with you guys. I realize that there's so many different methods out there, but this is really a simple one. You don't really need a whole lot. You just need to be committed and understand that it'll take a little bit of time. I know with all three, it probably took them several months before they became completely comfortable in their own rooms and in their own beds. But honestly, that is such a small period of time to get them into a good habit. And so I think it's worthwhile. If you have any more questions about weaning or something that I missed, please be sure to comment below and let me know what you're curious about or what sort of methods that maybe you've used with your children. I'm always interested to hear what other mamas are up to. I really appreciate your support of my channel, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye.